Okay, here for InfiniteMMA.com, I've got Murilo Ninja Hua prior to his fight. Now, first up, as someone who trains with his brother in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Murilo's obviously got a very close relationship with his brother Shogun. How has that affected your training and your career, being able to have a training partner, a younger brother to, work on up with through your entire career?
Jiu-jitsu com o irmão dele e com você tem a relação com o irmão Shogun, como que afetou na tua carreira, como que ajudou na tua carreira, ter um irmão mais novo, com quem você trabalhou e treinou sempre a vida inteira? De que forma ajudou na tua carreira, você tem um irmão treinando com você, mais novo treinando com você?
My opinion is very important for his brother training together and training together, training every day training academia. Eu acho importante porque ele sempre está comigo, sempre conversando, tudo é muito importante.
Yeah, he thinks it's very important because they're always together, so they get connected, they know each other's games. So it's a big part of the development, having a brother to train with you. I mean, it's like a full-time partner.
And do you find that you guys, I know for myself, my brother, we have very different styles. Do you guys find that you're fairly similar or you develop in very different paths?
Você acha que vocês têm estilos diferentes, estilos parecidos?
Yeah, very different.
Very different?
Yeah. Shogun very easy and you very
Crazy.
More intense in his style.
Very different. Very different fighter. Yeah.
Different personalities and different fighting styles.
Yeah, that sounds very familiar. Now, the other thing I wanted to ask you guys, you obviously were with Shootbox for a long time. More recently, you've started your own gym. How do you find as a fighter balancing running your own gym versus your own career, as opposed to previously where I'd imagine someone looked after the gym, looked after your management, and looked after a lot of that stuff for you? How did you find a balance there?
Yeah, vocês estão muito tempo na shootbox e como você avalia a diferença e encontrar o equilíbrio entre antes ter pessoas que cuidavam das suas lutas, da academia, dos treinos e agora ter que cuidar da sua própria equipe, etc. E tal.
Então essa parte aí eu faço para minha irmã, essa parte senta no Maurício lá e o Eduardo na parte da luta senta tudo na mesa, na verdade.
Well, actually, it didn't change much for me, he says, because the actual day-by-day in the academy, the whole structure with the students is looked out more by Shogun and some other guys, and for his fights, and he takes some care of the training, but there's also a team around him, and for his fights, Eduardo with me, it's my manager, and he takes care of that, so it really didn't change that much.
So you outsource a lot of basically the management side of things, so you don't have to do it day to day.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, another thing I wanted to ask about, I recently had the pleasure of attending a seminar with Mario Sperry. I thought he was a great coach, one of the best I've attended. And it reminded me, Murilo had a fight with him back in Pride a while ago, and it was, as a BJJ and grappling fan, it's one of my favourite matches to watch, just from a grappling perspective especially. Do you have any thoughts on that fight, all those years ago now, or any opinions that people may want to know?
Teve esses dias num seminário do Zé Mário, foi um ótimo instrutor lá no seminário e se lembrou da grande luta que vocês fizeram, que para um fã de luta de chão como ele, achou uma luta espetacular no chão, a movimentação de vocês dois, um lutaço. Tantos anos depois você ainda se lembra dessa luta, algum comentário sobre essa luta, o que você lembra?
Me lembro, tenho um grande respeito do Samara, tudo. Eu consegui ter vitória, era o ápice do MMA na época, tinha top team, acho que eu gosto. E graças a Deus eu consegui ter a vitória e fico feliz por isso, né? Por ter ganhado uma luta com dois atletas.
Yeah, I actually remember that fight very well, have fond memories of it. Back then it was like the peak of the rivalry between the Brazilian top team and Shootbox, and that was a big thing. And I respect Mario Sperry a lot as a fighter, as a person. He's a guy that I admire, so I had the pleasure of fighting him, and I was very happy and fortunate to be able to come out with the win in such a key moment for the sport and for my career. So I have great memories of that fight, and I still like and admire Mario Sperry up until now.
Now there was one more question. This may be maybe a slightly more touchy subject. I'm not sure. It's also to do with another rivalry, which a lot of people from the Pride days will remember. There was a fight a while ago where your brother fought Mark Coleman. What I was going to ask about is the incident after the fight. There was obviously a lot of publicity about it, a lot of videos on the internet.
Yeah.
A lot of people say this, say that. It would be great to hear from someone who was right there in the centre of things. what happened. Was it just a matter of people's tempers exploding in a volatile situation? Were there things behind the scenes that most people don't know? What does Murilo have to say on that whole incident?
Uma outra rivalidade, falando nisso, que existia na época, foi a rivalidade entre o Collor e meu teu irmão, e aquela luta no Pride, que aconteceu todo aquele incidente depois da luta entre vocês, e muito se fala, é um assunto meio delicado, mas nada melhor do que alguém que estava lá, que viveu na pele, para dizer o que realmente aconteceu, o que houve naqueles bastidores depois daquela luta.
Houve que ela não tem gravação, que não viu lá mesmo, e ele fez o logo, e acho que ele estava muito impulsivo, porque na situação que estava, o Maurício estava machucado, tudo, acho que nem ele acreditou que ele venceu o Maurício daquele jeito lá, e fizeram a revanche, mas provou que é melhor que ele, né?
Yeah, actually what took place was pretty much what everybody saw on the recordings that they had from backstage. I mean, it has been on YouTube, whatever, everybody has seen it. And it was pretty much that. I think Coleman took it a bit too far. He was a little too excited after the win. I think he didn't even believe himself that he had won the fight that way. I mean, that was like a freak thing to happen, and it was what happened. Later on, I think he went overboard with my brother being injured and acting the way he was, overhyped. And after that, I mean, we got a rematch in the UFC, and Shogun pretty much proved that he was an east better fighter, and that's about it. I mean, it's in the past.
Yeah, fair enough. So the final real question is, Murilo is someone who's fought on the biggest shows with pride. Do you have ambitions to go back to something like Dream or the UFC, or are you right now just taking it as it goes and focusing on your academy at this point?
Você já teve nos grandes eventos do Pride, grandes eventos, e como você se sente hoje? Você tem a ambição de voltar ao Dream, ou lutar no UFC, alguma coisa assim, ou você está dando um passo de cada vez e vendo como as coisas acontecem?
Então, estou dando um passo de cada vez, vou deixar acontecer, e eu acho que uma hora vai chegar a minha oportunidade e vou estar preparado para fazer um grande show para os grandes eventos, para o público.
Yeah, actually I'm taking one step at a time and letting things happen and see what happens pretty much. Whenever the opportunity comes up, I'll be ready and fit to give a great show to the crowd, as I always did, which is my thing. And I mean, I have to let things happen naturally. And I might add, as his manager, that he still has 2 fights agreed with Dream that he didn't fulfill. He was offered a fight in Dream last year. It would be almost on the same day as Shogun Machida won. I think was Dream 12 or something that I had in a cage.
Yeah.
And it was on the same day, so it was a very hard decision for him, but it was his brother's style of fight. He had to corner him. Their relationship is very important to each other, so he had to decline that fight. Later on, he was supposed to fight in Dream 14, which was originally going to be held in Korea in April of this year, and the show got canceled. No. So, it's one of those things where his deal with Dream is non-exclusive, so it allows him to go there and then to use a bit of what he conquered through his career in coming to shows like this, Impact FC, and helping the sport to spread out a little more, and lending his name to help that cause a little bit. And I think he may be very well back to Dream still this year. We're seeing what happens, and as far as the UFC goes, I mean, the way we see it, and he believes in that. He's a guy that has proved his worth through years and years, so it has to happen in the right way. We have a good relationship with the UFC. If they want Ninja there, Ninja will fight for them, but it's not something that we're going to force or push.
Yeah,
our
fair
focus
enough.
right now is to keep improving his record. I think he has his fair share of battles, and he fought the best of the best. His record could easily be better, I mean, with a little more luck in some judges' decisions, like against Rampage or against Dan Henderson. Those were key moments. So right now, I mean, he's on a 3-win streak, and we hope to extend that to 5 or 6. He has already some fights lined up. He fights Sunday, then he has a fight on a new show in Israel that's gonna happen in November. And hopefully back in Brazil for either Impact when they do their show over there in September, or maybe even BTT, where he has been fighting in Brazil. And then hopefully we'll finish off the year in Japan, getting back to Dream at the New Year's Eve show, and see what goes on from there. Maybe next year.
Well, so he's obviously got a lot on the works, so definitely look forward to seeing him fighting both this weekend and in future. I want to thank you guys both for your time. This is Ilan from Infinite MMA.